At 7:12 a.m., the morning in Cora City wore a thin veil of mist and smelled of roasted maize, diesel, and charcoal soap. The sky hung low and bright like a bowl of poured milk. Kofi stood at the bus stop with a folder pressed to his chest, the corners softened by many nights of rehearsing answers and reprinting copies. His shirt held a crisp line from a heavy pot used as an iron. His shoes shone with a shy glow born of banana peel and patience. He watched vendors arrange oranges in pyramids that caught the light like small suns. He heard the mutter of drivers and the hiss of brakes. He felt the cool edge of the morning on his face and the small heat of hope in his chest. The tower where his interview waited rose 10 stops away, a column of glass that sliced the sky. People said the elevators there did not groan. They hummed. People said the hallways smelled of lemon and clean ambition. People said the new leader changed everything with quiet decisions and firm hands. "Today will not slip," he said under his breath. He checked his watch. 7:12 became 7:13. He rolled his shoulders the way his father taught him when nerves ran hard. He counted 3 breaths and let them out slow. He rehearsed simple lines in his mind, not to impress, but to tell the truth without waste. A small sedan coughed to a stop near the curb. Steam lifted from the hood like thin cloth shaken over a bowl. A red scarf fluttered above the open door. A woman stepped out with steady feet and looked at a wheel that leaned wrong, tired, and dangerous. Kofi moved without drama. "Are you well?" he asked. "I am well," she said. Her voice had a calm center. "The car is not. I have an 8 o'clock meeting." "The bolt on your wheel is almost free," he said after one glance. "The jack is old. It can still work. I called for help," she said. "They promised 30 minutes." The bus slid around the corner with the precision of a blade. Doors opened. People climbed. The driver tapped the horn with the impatient kindness of someone who must keep time or lose money. Kofi looked at the bus, then at the wheel, then at the exact way the tire kissed the road's broken lip. He remembered the ordinary law that his father drilled into him when life grew noisy. "Help what is in front of you when your hands can do it fast and well. I can fix it now," he said. "Please hold the car steady and turn the phone light on the bolts." "You will miss your bus," she said. "I will find another," he said. He knelt. The dust held last night's coolness. The metal smelled faintly of rain and oil. The phone's light washed everything a sharp white. "You have steady hands," she said. "They must be steady today," he answered. "I have an interview." "Where?" "Cora City Tower. Operations." He nodded. "Yes." The bus door side shut. The bus pulled away. The mirror caught the new sun and drew a thin blade of light across his cheek, a bright mark that came and went as if the day itself had cut a small path on his face. He set the jack right the first time. He lifted only what he needed, not a breath more. He loosened and tightened in a cross, not in a circle, because he believed in patterns that protect lives. He did not rush. He did not waste a second. He did not speak to be admired. He spoke only to keep each step clean. "It is safe now," he said at 7:21. "Do not force the turn. Let the car tell you what it needs." She looked at her watch, then at him. "Thank you. What is your name?" "Kofi. I am Amma," she said. "I will remember this. There is nothing to pay," he said. "Drive safe." "Let me drop you," she said. "I will take the next bus." She opened the door. "Please. There is room." He hesitated for a heartbeat, then entered the car as gently as a man steps into a promise he did not plan to make. Cora City widened and narrowed like breath as the sedan moved. Sunlight spilled over window glass and made each street look rinsed and new. Hawkers lifted trays and balanced them with the grace of old dancers. Brooms whispered over thresholds. The air carried motor heat, spice, and the faint sweetness of overripe mango. "What will you say when they ask about weakness?" Amma asked. "I will say I take on too much," Kofi answered. "Then I will say I learn to ask for help before the load bends the spine." "What will you say when they ask why this place?" "I will say I watched the trucks move when the port closed," he said. Routes changed in the night. No one went unpaid. That kind of order protects families. "You notice small laws of movement," Amma said. I try to make small laws that hold when big plans fail. They reached a crossroad where the city clutched itself into a knot. A pushcart tilted and spilled bananas that rolled like soft, bright stones. A rider skidded, rose, and laughed to prove to the morning that he could still make joy with scraped palms. A child ran with a bag of ice that knocked his knee with each step, a drum that said, "Hurry, hurry." Traffic loosened and they slid through. Kofi checked the time. 7:42 a.m. "There is a chance," he said. "We will make that chance larger," Amma said with such calm that the air seemed to obey. He studied her hands on the wheel. They did not clutch. They guided. He noticed how she checked mirrors with the same rhythm each time, as if she had learned a song that kept her safe. He noticed that she did not speak to fill silence. She used words as if breath had a budget. "Thank you for stopping," Kofi said. "Most people would drive away from another person's morning." "Most people promise themselves good deeds for later," she said. Later rarely arrives on time. He listened and set the words aside like tools that might be useful in some tight corner of the day to come. At 7:51 a.m., a checkpoint appeared like a small village within the road. Cones stood straight. Orange vests shone. Officers moved with unhurried certainty and waved cars through with open hands. One officer lifted his palm toward Amma. She eased the sedan to a stop. "Good morning," he said. "License and registration?" Amma passed them through the window. The officer walked around the car once, twice, inspecting with the generous suspicion of a person who knows that machines misbehave when no one is looking. He returned and looked at Kofi. "Where are you headed?" "Kora City Tower," Kofi said. "I have an interview at 8. The officer studied his face. "You helped someone today?" Kofi blinked. "Yes. How do you know?" Amma asked. The officer pointed at her scarf. "We saw the steam and the wheel by the bus stop. The scarf was easy to follow in the wind." The other officer returned the papers. "Proceed," he said. "And good luck." Amma drove on. The knot of traffic untied itself as if a clever child had found the one loose end in a tangle. Kofi let go of a breath he had been holding without knowing it. The tower rose ahead, blue and tall. The fountain in the circular drive spoke a hiss that sounded like 1,000 soft yeses. Security guards held tablets and greeted people with the kind politeness that does not perform, it simply fits. "We are here," Amma said at 7:58. "Go. Do your work." Kofi grabbed the door handle. She handed him a small white card. "In case you need it later," she said. He slid it into his pocket without reading. "Thank you," he said, and he ran with his folder tucked like a message that must reach the right hands before the hour turned. The lobby air held a clear chill. The floor shone. A large plant breathed green into the clean lines. Kofi stood at the desk where a guard with careful eyes and steady fingers controlled the flow of strangers into the belly of order. "Name?" the guard asked. "Kofi Mensah." "Interview 8, the guard typed. "I do not see your name." "It must be there." "Department?" "Operations." The guard searched again. Shoes clicked behind Kofi, a small fleet of patience and hurry. "No pass," the guard said. "No entry. I have the email," Kofi said. He produced a printout that bore his name, the hour, the location, and the sign-off of someone in human resources. The ink sat sharp on the page. The date shone like a coin. The guard read, frowned, typed again. "You may call this number," he said, pointing to a line on the page. "Stand aside while I assist the next guest." Kofi thanked him and stepped away with the feeling of a door that is not closed, but is held by a hand that will not yet let go. Attempt 2. The call, 8:06, 8:19 a.m. "Human Resources," a voice answered. "My pass is not active," Kofi said. "I am in the lobby. Your slot is 8, the voice said. "It is now 8:08. I am here. I can join now. Please wait." Music filled the line, a bright loop that made the seconds loud. Kofi watched elevator numbers rise and fall with polite confidence. A woman led a group past him with a badge that flickered green at the gate. The fountain whispered and did not care who listened. "Sir," the voice returned, "the panel has started. We can reschedule, please," Kofi said. "I was delayed on the road. I helped someone whose wheel was loose. I am here now," silence hummed. "I will try one thing," the voice said. Hold. Attempt 3. The manager. 8:20, 8:35 a.m. A manager in a navy suit came down. She looked at Kofi the way a master mason looks at a stone to see if it will sit tight where the wall needs it. She checked his passless chest, his clean folder, his patient shoes. "You are late," she said. "Yes," he said. "Why?" He told her what had happened, only what mattered. He did not gild it. He did not plead. "We have a policy," she said. "The panel begins at 8 and does not look back." "I understand." She read his email. The lines on her forehead grew firm. "Someone did not activate your pass. That is our error. You may come up for 10 minutes. Thank you. Do not waste them. I will not." The guard printed a sticky badge. It warmed his palm like a small body. He pressed it to his shirt and entered the elevator. The doors closed with a hush that felt like the inside of a good promise. The interview room held a clean table, a tall window, and a clock that spoke time like a teacher who believes in order more than fear. 3 people sat behind closed laptops. Their faces were not unkind. They were not eager either. They looked as if they would keep nothing and lose nothing if he failed to keep up with the hour. "Sit," the man in the middle said. Kofi sat. He placed his folder down with care, the way he sets a tool that must work again. "You are late," the woman on the left said. "Yes." "Why?" He spoke the facts as they came and did not paint them with apology or self-praise. He used the shortest path between truth and hearing. When he finished, the clock said 8:41. "We value punctuality," the man said. "I understand." "Late arrivals are disqualified," the woman said. Kofi's face did not move. His breath came even. Hope did not leave. Hope did not shout either. Hope stood behind his right shoulder like a quiet friend who accepts the result and does not lose respect for the work that was done. "Then why am I here?" he asked. "Not to argue, but to learn the rule for next time." "Because we were curious," the man said. "We wanted to hear you explain this choice." The door opened. A 4th person entered with a red scarf folded now into a neat line of color against a white blouse. The panel stood up at once. "Good morning," they said together, the way people greet a person who bends the river and does not splash. "Good morning," Amma said. She took the chair at the head of the table. Kofi did not speak. He did not smile. He watched the blade of sunlight cross the table and rest against the rim of her water glass. "We were discussing policy," the woman on the left said. Amma looked at Kofi. "You fixed a wheel this morning?" "Yes." "You arrived late?" "Yes." The woman closed her laptop with the careful disdain of someone who knows the cost of exceptions. "Policy is policy." "Policy guides culture," Amma said without heat. "Judgment keeps it human." Kofi looked at her and felt the morning gather itself again. He now understood the quiet center in her voice. He understood how she held a wheel and a room with the same calm grip. The air shifted the way it does when a storm passes near a town and leaves the branches full of a charge that will not quite release. The clock ticked with patience. The window cast a clean stripe of light across the table, and it lay across Kofi's hands as if to test whether they would tremble. "Tell me of 3 failures that taught you something you can use here," Amma said. He told her about a lost shipment that required him to walk to each vendor and explain with eye level and with his hands open. He told her about a power cut that forced him to draw roots by hand and pin them to the board with colored tacks until the night crew stopped losing their way. He told her about the pride that kept him silent when a helper could have saved a contract, and how he learned to divide the load before it built a cliff under his feet. "Tell me one surprise," Amma said. He spoke of a driver who could not read and how he rebuilt the schedule with colors, shapes, and tokens in a pouch until the man ran a perfect week and brought sweets for the crew to celebrate a victory he had never thought would belong to him. The panel listened without blinking. Amma's fingers did not tap the table. Her eyes did not drift. She did not interrupt. When he finished, the room rested in a full, useful silence. "Do you know why I offered you a ride?" she asked. "Because you are kind," Kofi said. "I am careful before I am kind," she said. "I wanted to see if you would step toward a problem and keep your time clean while doing it." You set the jack at the right point without a test lift. You tightened in a cross. You used your words to make me a partner. That is operations. The man in the center cleared his throat. We still have a policy. And I have a company, Amma said. It breathes. It needs people who protect its breath. She placed the small white card on the table between them. It was the twin of the card in his pocket. It bore her name, clean, with a number that did not go through a maze. 3 months, she said. Prove this morning is not a lucky hour. Yes, Kofi said. He did not look at the panel. He did not look at the clock. He held her eyes and knew that the day had turned like a wheel that finds the dry grip after sliding in gravel. The first month rolled like a cart with a fresh axle. Night routes stopped bleeding minutes at corners where drivers once paused to argue with their own confusion. By the second month, inventory reconciliations no longer came with sharp words and dull eyes. By the third morning, briefings shrank from floods to streams. People came on time because the work honored their time. Kofi walked the yard at 6:45 p.m. The sky had the color of ripe pawpaw left on a warm windowsill. The air held the smell of rubber, rope, paper dust, and that strange clean scent that rises after a truck wash when the last water slides into the grate. He carried a clipboard for show and a mind for use. He did not raise his voice to be heard. He moved near and spoke plainly. He learned the names of people who were never called in meetings. Amma found him there with a slim stack of reports bound by a simple clip. How did the pilot run on the northern loop? She asked. It held, he said. We can scale without breaking the joints. You made a pattern, she said. We made a pattern, he answered, including drivers, loaders, night shift, the clerk with the lamp that never betrayed the ink on his fingers. You kept the promise you made in that room, she said. You kept yours, he said. You let work speak for me. They watched 2 trucks reverse into bays with the grace of dancers who know every step, even when the music cuts out. A driver honked twice, a small salute, and waved. The gesture made the old blade of light from that morning return in Kofi's memory. A thin, bright line that had once sat across his cheek like a blessing laid down without a word. What did you learn that you did not expect? Amma asked. That help is a craft, he said. It must be precise, fast, and brave. It must not wait for applause. It must not ask for a seat. It must earn one by making the load lighter for everyone who touches it. Amma nodded. That is a good sentence. It is a good rule, he said. Say the moral for those who will come after you. Kofi looked at the dock where men wound straps with a rhythm that could calm frightened goats. He looked at the office where a light burned low for a woman who counted money without fear or love for numbers, only for what they protect. He looked at the gate where a guard spoke to a small boy who had come to find his father. Help does not waste a life when it is honest and skilled, he said at last. Courage that serves the moment returns to serve the future, even if you do not see the root. Amma smiled and let the words stand the way a mason lets a stone keep its own face when it fits the wall. If this tale placed a steady hand on your morning, carry it forward. If Kofi's choice reminded you of a road you once walked, let it guide the next turn. Please subscribe so you do not miss the next story of quiet courage and earned wisdom. Please like this video if a simple, fast act of help ever changed your day. Comment below with a time when you stepped toward a problem and found your life turning with it. Share this with one friend who is facing a test before 8 a.m. tomorrow. Next, watch The Letter That Crossed 10 Rains and When the Market Lights Died, the voices rose for more journeys where small choices made room for larger mercies. Thank you for your time. Walk gently, act quickly, and let your work speak with a clear voice.